After studying this module, we shall be able to know what is service marketing, understand the service mix, learn the important characteristics of services and their marketing implications, observe the marketing mix for services, understand the key marketing strategies for services.
One of the three contributors to the economic income is agriculture, industry, and services. The service industry is growing in importance over time, and a growth in this sector has always been the indicator of the growth of the economy. In fact, the growth of service industries like information technology, business services like banking, warehousing and insurance, distribution and logistics, education and health, tourism and recreation, finance, construction, engineering and infrastructure, etc. have been the key to the growth of any economy. The myriad spectrum of services is so varied and complex that understanding their nature and the associated marketing challenges is a subject of great significance for the marketers. A service is any act or performance one party offers to another, and that is essentially intangible and does not result in the ownership of anything. Production of a service may or may not be tied to a physical product depending upon the nature and type of service. In this context, academicians have suggested to view the services as a combination of goods and services in different proportions of tangibility over a continuum. Services are mostly observed as benefits, often independent of any major physical product and without the transfer of ownership. Service activities are performed in interaction with a contact person who is treated as a physical resource, and this interaction between the customer and the service provider together contributes towards the quality of service and instantaneous consumption.
Academicians have proposed different categories of services that observe an individual service over a good service continuum and differentiate services from physical goods. These criteria can be tangibility versus intangibility, experience versus search, prior purchase or post purchase, etc. The service mix suggested by Philip Kotler is one of the useful concepts in this direction. It is presented as follows. Pure tangible goods. The offer of tangible goods by the seller without any accompanying service, such as soap, salt, spices, breads, etc. Tangible goods with accompanying services. The transaction with the seller primarily includes the offer of tangible goods, such as electronic goods, cars, computers, and other such advanced and highly engineered goods that need a range of support services, and hence the price offer also includes the cost of support services. Hybrid. The buyer is offered the package of goods and services in more or less equal proportions, as both are equally important for the satisfaction of buyer. For example, the delivery of services of hospitality and tourism services, the health industry, etc., is never possible without the use of tangible goods like rooms, beds, food, etc. Major service with accompanying minor goods and services. The services like transportation by air or road, banks, insurance, financial institutions, etc., are the examples of such capital intensive service industry that requires a basic infrastructure, but beyond that, the disposal and delivery is primarily of the service, with a very minor component of goods or accompanying services. Pure service. The pure intangible services are that of a nurse, babysitter, consultants, etc., who do not require significant use of goods in order to render their services. The primary characteristics of services that make it different from goods or products are as follows: intangibility, inseparability, variability or heterogeneity, and perishability. Intangibility. Service is a deed, activity, performance, or an effort that cannot be seen, felt, touched, tasted, heard, or smelt. It is experienced, and the quality of experience is to be created by the seller. A buyer draws inference of service quality through pricing, symbols, and branding, equipments, and resources used, people, or the service providers, and the place of service. Therefore, the service provider's task, according to Levitt, is to manage the evidence and to tangibilize the intangible. This approach helps the buyer make the evaluation of service and observe the concrete benefits of the service rendered. Inseparability. Services are produced, distributed, and consumed simultaneously. The service and the service provider are inseparable. Unlike physical goods, services cannot be transported and distributed by different agencies for consumption at a distance placed by the buyer. There is typically a close interaction between the service provider and the buyer, as in the case of a barber, teacher, singer, doctor, etc. Thus, inseparability suggests that in case of services, only direct distribution is possible. This fact further implies that there is potentially the limiting number of markets that can be catered by the service provider. Thus, the stress should be laid on the use of IT, adequate training to the service providers and helpers and technicians at the back end, and the use of the best possible infrastructure and resources. Variability or heterogeneity. The fact that service and service providers are inseparable leads to the characteristics of variability in the service quality. Services cannot be standardized or be uniform in terms of time consumed in delivery, quality, or extent of service, even if they are rendered in the same organization or by the same person. However, owing to the industrialization of the services, a lot of heterogeneity in the service quality can be controlled. The variability in service quality can be reduced by a lot of measures like standardizing the services, performance processes, investing in good hiring training procedures, using and substituting machine with labor, monitoring customer feedback and satisfaction, etc.
Perishability means that if the service is not utilized or consumed by the buyer, or if there is any lapse during the production till consumption of service, it will go waste as it cannot be stored. For example, the vacant seats of an airbus or a cinema hall or theatre or the hospital or education institute always indicate the loss of potential revenue for the organization as they are perishable services. Thus, demand fluctuation in service industry is another key aspect to be managed very effectively. The answer to this challenge in service marketing lies in yield management. That is, providing service at right place, at right time, in a right manner and at the right price to have the maximum yield of the service. Academicians have suggested a number of measures both on the demand and the supply side for yield management in service industry. These are listed as follows. Demand side measures. 1. Differential pricing for peak and non-peak demand periods. 2. Cultivation of the non-peak demand by discounts and incentives. 3. Offer of complimentary services during peak demand period to the waiting customers. 4th, use of reservation system to regularize the sale and offer discounts for early reservation. Supply side measures. 1. Hiring part-time employees during the period of peak demand. 2. Developing the facilities for future expansion. 3. Introducing and developing peak time efficiency routines. 4th, encouraging customer participation and self-service concepts.
A service is a bundle of features and benefits that can have relevance for a specific target market. Given the unique features of services, it is very important for the marketer that while developing a service product, the package of marketing mix of the service must have a marketing perspective, focusing over the customer's needs and efficiencies in delivering the product. McCarthy traditional marketing mix for a physical product, that is, 4 P's of product, price, promotion, and physical distribution, is observed to be insufficient by the practitioners of service marketing owing to the basic characteristics of services that are highly different from a physical product. Thus, the marketing mix of services has been extended by researchers, academicians to include 3 additional P's of people, physical evidence, and process management.
Quite similar to a product layer concept for tangible goods, a service in its product form is seen as a bundle of package of 1. The core service, 2. The auxiliary or peripheral or facilitator services, and 3. The supporting services, and 4. The augmented service offering. The core service is the need satisfying attribute of the service, like room in a hotel for staying needs of the customer, whereas the facilitating services are the mandatory features in the absence of which the service cannot be delivered meaningfully. For an example, the attached bathroom, a bed with a linen, lighting, and other basic facilities in a room. The supporting services do not facilitate the consumption of the core service. However, they increase the value of the service. For example, the ambience, the cleanliness, the help desk, and reception are add-on facilities of the hotel. The augmented service components include the offer that exceeds the customer's expectation and are meant to have leverage over the competitors. The services of courteous staff, complimentary offers, etc., are examples of augmented service offers.
The second P, pricing of service. Service pricing is quite similar to the pricing of physical goods. That is, the pricing methods and principles are very much identical. The key pricing rules are as follows. The cost of tangible clues of the service offers should be considered while pricing in order to guide buyers for evaluation and reference. Service pricing should indicate value addition and quality so as to have an impact over the customer's perceptual positioning. Pricing should take into account the competitive challenges. Due to the perishable nature of services, it is very important to manage the demand fluctuations with the help of pricing strategies. Product life cycle stage of the service and its price elasticity are the important factors affecting its pricing.
The third P is place or physical distribution of service. The traditional distribution channels and systems comprising of market intermediaries, transportation, insurance, and warehousing agencies are not applicable in their true sense. Most of the services are distributed through direct sales without the use of any intermediary. At the most, there can be an agent or broker to complete the service sale transactions. However, their role is limited towards bringing the buyer and the seller at single platform. The interaction between the buyer and seller is still a direct one. It is in this context the training of the agent and the distribution in the form of franchising can be very significant. Another issue regarding distribution of services, creation of the time and place utilities for the buyer. In this context, the location of the service outlet and its ambience, the time taken in the delivery of service, maintaining the standard and uniformity of service, and the processes used in the delivery becomes very important.
Marketing R. In view of the intangibility and inseparability of the services, a buyer is buying the performance of the service personnel and therefore The advertising should not only be restricted to encouraging the consumption, but it should also encourage the employees to perform well. The sales promotion schemes like sample distribution, coupons, add ons, refund, warranty, etc., can be used to a very limited extent. Therefore, the promotional methods like offer of packages, discounts, premiums, etc., should be judiciously used. Developing a personal relationship with the customer is very significant promotion mix that is not only used to enhance sales but also to have a feedback and ensure customer satisfaction. A professional orientation of the service provider adds to the favorable image of the service product. The unconventional promotional activities like community relation, event management, public relations, and corporate identity programs are more effective than the conventional publicity as a promotional mix. Stress should be given on specialization to have a unique positioning as a promotional strategy. The fifth P, people or internal marketing. People or employees are the face of the service organization and represent its identity to the customers. The entire marketing efforts can go waste if the employees are not given sufficient training or motivation for this face to face interaction. According to Berry and Pershuraman, a service company can be only as good as its people. It is in this context the internal marketing, that is, employees becoming the first internal market for the marketer before the target market customers, becomes the fifth P of the service marketing mix. Thus, the service organization should invest in people quality in order to improve the service quality and pave the way for external marketing. Important suggestions for effective internal marketing are: compete hard procuring talent, offer vision to the employees for retaining and maintaining them, invest in the skill enrichment and employees development, be proactive in receiving the employees' feedback and suggestions, stress team play, coordination, and cooperation through reward systems, performance measurement and appraisals, and work environment. Reward the employees for their contribution to organization's vision and excellence. Empower the employees with flexibility and innovativeness.
The sixth P is physical evidence. Tangibility of the physical product makes it self defining. A service cannot define for itself, and therefore, tangible clues like facilities, materials, and objects in the physical environment, staff, and its professionalism and courtesy, price, labels, branding, interiors, and structure, etc. They guide a customer from the value perception and take a purchase decision. These evidences primarily tangibilize the intangible service and play a vital role in forming the first impression about service quality, managing and retaining the trust of the customer, changing the image of the service, and providing a stimuli for purchase. Some of the evidences like material and objects like notepads, books and brochures, certificates, etc. are peripheral evidences that can be possessed by the customer while others are essential but non-possessible. Whatever be the nature of these evidences, managing these evidences in a planned and systematic manner is a challenge for this marketing mix element.
Service availability, balancing of service demand and supply, and consistent service quality. There are a number of issues in process management of services. These are process planning and control, operation specifications to achieve service output in terms of quality, quantity, delivery, and cost. Operations planning, the detailed specifications of subsystems, facilities designing, design, layout, locations, material handling, maintenance, scheduling, detailing, inventory planning and control, planning and controlling the inventory of people and capacity, quality control, specifying and controlling the quality standards, operations control, ensuring the conduct of operations as per schedules, forecasting and long-term planning, anticipating demand and forecasting the capabilities.
The first way to improve the service quality is revisiting customer orientation. Customer relation is the essence of service marketing strategy, as one-to-one interaction is the core of service delivery. It is in this context that the service organization must invest in managing service quality through accurate information, responsive and empathetic behavior, trained and professional staff, feedback, and customer care. Empowering the customers in terms of service unbundling, email complaints, 24 hours call centers, services for suggestions and queries is also important to demonstrate customer orientation. Making the customers co-producers to play an active role in service production and delivery is important in redefining the customer relationships. This can be done in different ways, such as redesigning service processes and customers' role, incorporating right technology for employees and customers' help, enhancing role clarity and motivation, etc.
The next way is improving the quality. Berry, Parsuraman, and Zithamal offer 10 recommendations to improve service quality across various service industries. These are: listen to your customers about his expectations and perceptions, always be reliable, be promising, determined, and caring in offering the basic service expected, develop the holistic view of the service design with its detailing, develop the service resolution system to manage the service problem, exceed customers' expectations by responsiveness, empathy, and assurance, be fair and demonstrate it to customers and employees, encourage teamwork by improving employees' motivation and capabilities, conduct regular employee research to gauge service problems and their solutions, develop a corporate service culture through effective and powerful leadership.
Holistic marketing requires the service organizations to practice internal marketing, external marketing, as well as interactive marketing. The drafting and implementation of the marketing program in terms of 7 P's of service marketing is external marketing. External marketing is addressing the customer's needs through service organization's marketing program. Making the employee sensitive about the customer service needs and expectations and training and motivating them to practice marketing program and serve the customers well is internal marketing. Interactive marketing focuses the interaction of the customers and the service providers. The emphasis is over improving the technical and functional skills of the service providers so that the service can be delivered in real time in most efficient and effective manner.
There are two aspects of managing service quality. These are customer expectation, best practices of service quality management. Satisfaction of the customer is a function of perceived and expected service. The greater is the perceived value of service and the lesser is the expectation from service, the greater is the satisfaction or delight of the customer. There is always a gap between the customer's expectation, management's perception of buyer's expectation, service quality specifications, service delivery, and external communications about service. All these gaps lead to the difference between the perceived and expected service and hence the dissatisfaction of the customer. Thus, the role of the marketer is to minimize such gaps through measures such as assurance, empathy, responsiveness, reliability, and use of tangibles, etc. Best practices of service quality management. Researchers in service marketing over time have guided with best practices to manage service quality. These are: have a distinctive strategy to satisfy the customer's needs. The top management is to be committed to the service quality. Set high standards for service quality by being innovative, reliable, and resilient. Use self-service technologies to make service transaction not only convenient, faster, and accurate, but also make the customer a party to the service transaction. Monitor and audit the service performance. Handle the grievances of customers in real time and with sincerity.
Creating a differentiated service offer is a key to beat competition in the service industry. But the task is challenging due to intangibility and inseparability of the service offer. Moreover, service innovations can be easily copied and therefore the competitive advantage is usually short lived. The practitioners can differentiate their service offer through innovative features and value additions at both the primary and the secondary service package levels. Addition of the product and promotional features such as loyalty rewards, instant redressal of grievance, corporate image and reputation, follow up of a complaint, professional handling of the service, sensitivity of the staff towards customers' unique needs, cross selling, range of offering for niche markets, etc., are a few of the add on services features that can be perceived as valuable and different by the customer.
Developing the brand strategies for a service brand requires the focus over three elements. These are: choosing the brand elements, the logos, symbols, slogans, characters, etc. The key point being the maximization of brand recall. Establishing image dimensions. This is to associate the service with a personality image and characters in order to add to its tangibility. Devising brand strategy. Given the service portfolio, the formulation of the branding strategy is important to develop a brand hierarchy so that positioning and targeting in terms of service pricing and quality can be effectively managed.
The second element of the service mix, that is the tangible goods with accompanying services, often called product support services or facilitating services, is another element of the service industry that is often ignored and requires strategic attention. The product industry can have a competitive edge or differentiation in the form of product support services such as ease of installation, customer training, customer consultation and feedback, maintenance and repairs, ease of delivery, and after sales services, etc.
Identifying and satisfying customers' needs. As per the product layer concept, the product support services form the augmentation layer of a product, primarily for exceeding the expectations of the customers. These augmentations are difficult to be identified and explained by the customers, not to talk of their cost perceptions. A buyer will always be worried about the after sales and facilitating services, but will never be able to answer the cost and value addition for such services. A correct identification and differentiated and valuable delivery of such services can be a competitive advantage to the service providing businesses. Post sales service strategies. Once the product service needs of the customers are identified, the delivery of such services is another issue that requires a strategic attention. These services can be managed by the manufacturer himself out of his own skills and resources, or can be handed over to the market intermediaries like distributors and suppliers at a price or contract, or may be taken over by the specialized and independent service organizations. Every option is a bundle of costs and gains to be worked out in the light of strategic goals.
1. The acts, performances, or benefits offered by one party to another, essentially intangible and without the transfer of ownership, are called services. 2. A service offer usually combines the intangible benefit or performance along with the usage of some tangible physical goods in different proportions depending upon the nature of service. 3. Intangibility, inseparability, variability, and perishability are the basic characteristics of a service that make it different from a physical good with specific marketing implications. 4. The marketing mix for services include three more P's. These are people, physical evidence, and process management, apart from the 4 P's of the physical goods. 5. The key strategies for service marketing call for improving service quality, managing service differentiation strategies and brands, and managing product support services.